Hey, Alex, thank you so much for joining me on the Question Guy podcast. I know it was kind of short notice, but I always appreciate your time. And today I had a thought. Actually, it was your thought. And so I'm just going to share it with the audience because I always ask my guest, what do they want to talk about? And you actually chose a topic that I don't really get to talk about much at all. And so it's networking. And so my first thought was, when we just jumped on the call tonight, I said you were busy and I told you I was busy, but busy kind of distracts us from those key things about what's really important about keeping connections with other professionals. And we call that networking.
hmm
But, for some, it's, just throwing out a catch up email or a direct message on LinkedIn. But surely that's not really going to get you far, not going to get you those intimate connections, those real relationships that you want to build with other professionals. So, talk to me. Where do you put yourself in that networking scheme of things, and how's that working for you?
Yeah, no, look, Keith, I really appreciate one you having me here today. I love your podcast. Always love your energetic voice and how you just like bring a breath of fresh air to these conversations. So I absolutely love it.
Well, you're the
Um,
first person to say that too. So
what? You're freaking
this conversation is
awesome.
starting off great. I love it.
And you can just send me that check later.
I sure
Um,
will.
so so look, I'm a career and culture coach, right? So what I do is I go into organizations and I help them build and shape the culture required to help them attract, retain, and develop leaders to be successful. And when we talk about leadership, there is no way to be a successful leader without building relationships, because we all know, you and I both know, you military, me military family, no one gets anything done of significance by themselves. It
Mm.
is impossible. So when you're talking about networking, what you're talking about is relationship building. What you're talking about is being able to bring multiple ideas and people to the table in order to get a job done. That means in order to be successful as a leader, you got to do this. Your question is a great question. And the answer is, it depends, right?
You know,
Um,
that's
go,
not
go on, please.
fair because we used to throw, and I'm going back because we said we're military, and so I'm coming
Mhm.
from a Marine Corps background. And in the Corps, we'd always ask our platoon sergeant, throw him out as, because we were going into battle. We were going into Panama. This was back in the early 90s. And
Mhm.
so, all of us guys were just kind of throwing out situations. And by golly, I tried to keep my podcast G rated. Um,
By golly.
the the answer is usually it depends, but it can't always just depend. There has to be circumstances
It
to wrap your thoughts around.
But no, to that point, it depends on what your outcome, what outcome are you looking for?
Okay.
If you are looking for, if you specifically need to develop a relationship with someone who you're going to be working with on a consistent basis, then you need to spend more time, right? If you are looking to really just kind of put your name out there and have your name in certain circles, so when you need to reach out to someone, or someone thinks about you and certain things come up, then maybe a quick email every once in a while, just keeping them in the loop of what's going on, is sufficient. It really depends on what your goals are. And this is why when I'm talking to people, and telling people how to develop strategic relationships, I use the 4C model, which is the first thing you do is mindset change. Second is internal clarity, then external clarity, then behavior choice. And when we're talking specifically about that internal clarity, which is the second step, that is identifying what your goals are. What are your aspirations? What outcomes do you need? Because once you know all this information, now you can decide how much energy, how much time to put into a particular relationship. Yeah, I can get rolling. I'll
No,
stop
I
there
just
for
had to write these down. That's why I always keep a pen in hand. So this is really cool. So you have a 4C strategy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Honestly, what happened was, and I hate this answer. I would talk to leaders for years. So when I began my career, I was 23 years old when I was asked to create and manage the Executive Leadership Development Program for the U.S. Department of the Interior. Now, why they let some 23-year-old kid do that made absolutely no sense, but I jumped into it, right?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
when I started learning and being mentored by and coached by some of the government's most senior level, like, most successful leaders, I started asking them, like, why are you successful? How are you doing this? And so many of them would tell me the same BS answer. I'm using BNS so I can keep it G-rated. Oh, I don't think about networking. I don't think about success. It just happened. I just stayed positive. And really it is BS. There is something that they are doing that they're doing different than other people. And so what I did was I started doing a lot of research into it. My background's in IO psychology with an emphasis in organizational and leadership development. And so I started doing research and interviews. And what I found after doing all of this, consolidating all of this research, is there's really just 4 steps that anyone can use to help them be a more strategic relationship builder. And that's the 4C model, which is, we're first mindset change, then internal clarity, then external clarity, then behavior choice.
Can you kind of break those down a bit? So mindset change. Can we start there? That was the first thing you said. So let's start there.
Absolutely.
What is that?
And I've
And what do you
said,
mean by, because what do you mean by mindset and why does it have to change?
well, hmm. Well, first, for all your listeners, I've said this in a very particular order for a reason. All these things have to be done in this order. So please realize this. The first thing is mindset change. As with anything in life, if you don't have the right mindset, you're never moving forward. If it doesn't matter what I teach you, if you think that networking is sleazy, right? It doesn't matter what I teach you if you believe that using scientifically tested ways to increase the likelihood of people hearing you and receiving what you have to say and building a relationship with you. If you think those things are bad, you're never going to do anything. If you believe that you're not good enough, that you know what, I don't deserve to be at this senior level. I don't deserve to get this next opportunity. I should just sit here and just work hard because one day maybe possibly someone will see me and give me an opportunity. If you believe those things are true, then you'll never integrate any of the things that we teach you or I teach you in regards to relationship building. So you have to change your mindset first. Once you change your mindset, you're
But
able to,
isn't that difficult? I'm sorry.
oh,
I needed to interrupt
no,
because that's
please.
difficult.
I, I,
Because
I
if you have a pattern of negative thinking,
mhm.
it's difficult to change that. I've
it,
been there.
it's a habit, right?
Yeah.
Once you've done something over and over and over and over, your mind begins to react on autopilot, right? So it's a habit like anything else. So how do you break a habit, but one day at a time? Um, for me, for people who do have those negative sets of negative mindset, what I would encourage them to do is pick a small thing to do. Just something small to help you take a step forward and get a success on a daily basis, which is, if you're on LinkedIn, reach out to one, click connect to one person every day. Just one person. Just connect. Some people are going to connect, some people won't. But then when you look at yourself a month later and you see your network on LinkedIn has grown by maybe 20 people, then you're like, oh wow, okay. So maybe I'll do 2 people. Maybe I'll send someone a message. You keep building this up. But what I always tell people, and you've heard me say this on my podcast, I always talk about on the executive pill, every single episode I end, every single talk I end, I say the same things. Stay strong, stay positive, stay moving. When I'm talking about stay moving, that means progress. You got to take action. If you're sitting back waiting for something to change, nothing's going to change. You got to take a step and then react and figure out, and get knocked in your butt sometimes, but get back up and keep going. You know.
True. I mean, I'm right with you. I totally agree. So, what came to my mind was something that I was told way back when I was in college. So we're talking
Mhm.
25 years ago. He said, we're always in, now I just meant, we're always in the process of becoming. We
Mhm.
are literally always in the process of change. As human beings, we
Mhm.
are in the process of change. The thing is, some of us take it intentionally and
Mhm.
some of us don't.
Yeah.
And those who make it with intention or take that change with intention, they're doing exactly what you're saying. You're giving the
Mhm.
example of, well, let's connect with somebody. Let's have a conversation.
Mhm.
Let's create a note. Let's post something. Let's
Mhm.
post something personal. And it's always kind of that risk taking. And they may, for us, they may not be risks at all anymore. These are our
Mhm.
habits.
Mhm. Mhm.
But for somebody who's kind of developing those things, it's uncomfortable. So you're right. I'm in agreement. I just want for clarity's sake. So there has to be a change in how you think. Let's
I
move to it. Can we
if I
move
can
to
say one
inner
last thing
clarity, or do you got something to add?
on the last part you made, I just want to underscore what you said because that is it's very profound. We're always in a state of flux. We're always in a state of change.
Mhm.
I really want to underscore that for your audience. And what I like to say is fear, right?
Ooh,
Fear is one of the things that it stops us from moving.
ain't that the
Um,
truth?
but when you think about fear, what are you afraid of? Generally you're afraid of things that you haven't done, right? Like once you've done something over and over and over and over, you're like, I got this. I pretty much got this. Like the first time jumping on a plane, doing skydiving, you're like probably maybe,
Well, I had to do it in the course, and that was a bit
oh,
different.
but after
Kind
a
of
while, you're
pushed
like,
out.
okay, I got this. Um, and so that's why I always actually tell people to use fear as your friend, because if you are feeling
Oh, I
uncomfortable,
like that. Fear
if
is
you're
your
feeling nervous, that means you're just trying something new. That means you're growing, you're learning something. You're gonna become more comfortable. But if you don't feel fear at all, that means you're not growing. You're not uncomfortable. That means you're in a very safe place, and safe generally doesn't mean growing. So be very cognizant of that fear that you have.
I like that. Fear is your friend, or something to that effect. I wrote it down. I want to look at that a bit more. But inner clarity. So because you have a dichotomy here. You have inner clarity and
External clarity.
outer clarity, external clarity. Um,
So
why is there two?
because this is the number one thing. Well, I said maybe this is the number two thing that most people get wrong about strategic relationship building or networking. Um, they think it's about someone else. Oh, I need to meet with Keith. I gotta shake Keith's hand. I gotta go network with Keith. Why? Well, because I got a network. But why Keith? Oh, what are your goals? Internal clarity, understanding what are my goals? What
Isn't that
resources?
selfish?
No.
It's not.
If my goal is to make sure that I have the funding coming in to take care of my family, is that selfish?
No.
If my goal is to grow and grow my skills and be a better leader, I know I can meet with someone who can teach me and mentor me how to be a better leader. Is that selfish?
No.
This is not about being selfish. It's about improving your situation, improving your situation not only for you and your company and your family, but I would take it a step further. The reality is that there are good actors and there are bad actors in this world. And we all know bad actors who are selfish, narcissistic, mean people who want to undermine people and just want to just put their freaking thumb on them and do everything they can. And you know what? They're networking. And so if you choose not to network, then what you're doing is you're saying, okay, I know there's good actors, bad actors. Hey, bad actors, you take those leadership positions. You take those positions of influence. You be in a situation where you have the ability to help someone out or not help someone out because you know what? I'm going to sit back. I think that someone should feel, I hate to use this word, but I feel like there's some guilt you should feel. If you have the ability to get out there, build relationships, and then create and gain support for your programs, help people have the money they need to eat, to make sure that your kids can go to the school they need to go to be successful, to make sure that your family, your organization can fulfill its mission, but you choose not to, I think that's on you. You can't complain. You can't complain.
No, you can't. Well, that was good. So what the dichotomy? If if you know what your own goals are, they're not selfish
Mhm,
because we have to grow
mhm,
and we have to connect with those people who can help us grow.
mhm.
Then why is there an outer clarity? What is
There's an
that? Like, is
ex
that a universe? I don't get it.
no, external clarity. External clarity is now once you understand who you are, what your goals are, what resources you have access to, where you're feeling comfortable, and so on and so forth. Now I can focus on Keith. What's Keith's goals? What are his
Oh,
needs?
okay.
Where's he? Where does he go? Where's he networking with? Who is his friends? Who is his enemies? How can I provide value to Keith? That's external clarity.
I get it. So now the focus is on somebody else. Now that you
Mhm,
have those things that you have, those resources that you need, you
mhm.
can then help somebody else achieve their
Exactly.
goals.
Exactly.
Okay. And so, because I wasn't clear on that, and
Mhm.
I apologize,
No.
but so I've talked with other people who have very similar and same values in terms of leadership. Because again, you talked, leaders build strategic relationships, which we are now talking about as networking. And so,
Mhm, mhm,
I may not be, a leader. I don't run, I'm not a C-suite leader, uh, but I run a podcast. I have
mhm.
conversations with people. I hopefully create good content on LinkedIn. I create YouTube videos. So, and I'm always going to be a technical instructor because that's right now what's earning my bread and butter. And so I'm a senior technical instructor for an international company. So these do make sense. But then you said choice,
Behavior choice.
behavior choice.
This is what everyone loves to focus on.
But this is
That
scary.
is shaking someone's hand.
See,
Should I
scary.
look them in the eye? Should I go to this networking? What should I say? What should I do? Behavior choice is literally the behaviors you do in order to build a relationship with someone. But the reality is, I'm going to take this back real quick, everyone. It doesn't matter what behaviors you implement if you don't have mindset change, because you'll never do it. It doesn't matter what behaviors you implement if you don't have internal clarity, because you don't know what your goals are. You'll be talking to the wrong person. If it doesn't matter what behaviors you implement, if you don't have external clarity, because you'll never be able to provide value to those individuals, you even thought about and understood what their needs are and what their wants are, which there's a difference between needs and wants. And then finally, that external, that behavior choice, there's a lot of research behind the words you use, how you dress, your attire, like all those things. There's a lot of research on how to increase the likelihood of someone hearing you when you speak. And that's what that's focused on.
Well, now now I want you to teach me.
Well, one of my
No, not
favorite.
right now, but I'm just saying that I'm
Okay.
going to go to one of your workshops. Daggone. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
Well,
Um,
your organization's got to bring me in. That's what we'll do, right?
well, I'm talking about me now. This is me. Like I
Okay.
said, we're mirror images of each other. I just, want to get to your level of expertise. Um, and so I got the mindset, I've got the inner clarity.
Mhm,
My conversations are connecting with people because I've got some outer clarity.
mhm.
Behavior choice. I'll be honest. Can I give a story real quick?
Please, it's your show.
Yeah, but my story is always about my guests. So there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. And I like to say that 3 years ago, so we're like 2019, I didn't have but maybe 2,000 connections on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn is my primary, social media platform.
Mhm,
I've been creating video content for YouTube for years. I think my oldest is like 6 years ago. And so there's an evolution with my YouTube channel, but that's a conversation for another time. I became more intentional with because I didn't really know. I mean, I had a LinkedIn profile for 10 years. Everybody said that, but we don't do anything. It's those
mhm,
people that were doing something in those 10 years, have those million followers and all those
mhm.
kind of cool things and are influencers and so forth. But I became more intentional. And so, like I said, 3 years ago. And like you said, you know, all those behavioral things, sending out an invite, a
Mhm.
connection, posting something, engaging in content, all those things were different. They were challenging, they were risky, they were weird. But I say all that to say, we're coming full circle now. That for me, it was about trying to figure out where I fit in.
Mm,
And I don't fit in anywhere. I've been a Marine, but don't really connect with the veteran or, military community. I've been in higher education. I've been a college professor, but don't really fit in there because I never made tenure and I never, published research papers and stuff like that. So I don't kind of fit in there. But I have that space. I've been in the college classroom. I know that space.
mhm, mhm,
I've been a STEM IT technical instructor at different levels of, education. Love STEM education, science, technology, engineering, math, and have great colleagues who are waist deep, if not all the way immersed in, STEM education. It's their thing. I love it, but it's not my thing. This year I made a post on LinkedIn. It was a misfit post, MISFIT, misfit, saying I belong to all these groups, but I don't belong to all these groups all
mhm,
at the same time. And I owned it. For the first time in my life, I owned who I was.
mhm,
And believe me, I wagered back and forth for about a week whether or not I should even post that. And I say all that to say is that taking ownership of who you are needs to fit in somewhere, maybe even before mindset change, because you got to be comfortable in your own skin in order
mhm,
to even start the evolution of becoming that leader, networking, growing your strategic relationships and all those things. Now that I'm comfortable and can talk about those things, I am much more, I guess, affluent and influential, I guess, on the LinkedIn platform. Now I don't have a great following, but I do have a significant following,
mhm,
and I do
mhm,
have significant relationships on the
mhm.
platform. So it's been a challenge for me, but I think it's been, like you said, it's been a great challenge because it's kind of made me evolve, and due to the risk taking and what we talked about earlier has changed me into something that I rather like. I like who I am now. I mean, not that I didn't like who I am, but I didn't fit in.
Mhm,
But I like this now. My podcast doesn't have a huge viewing, so it's on your audience if they want to listen to you on this conversation. But having the conversations that I'm having with people all over the world, especially with people who have a mindset to say, hey, we can change the world by changing how we think. And I love that.
mhm, mhm,
I love that
mhm.
you say that. I love that that's your platform. I love that you can help other people see that and
Thank you.
help them make, those changes necessary to be the person that they need to be. I said a lot. I don't usually say a lot on my own podcast, but your words had such value and such impact on me that I just wanted to share them.
And, again,
I feel
thank
like we're
you.
in church.
No, no, look, preach, preacher. Hashtag blessed. You you are awesome, and for for everyone listening right now, like this is a space that Keith you dreamed up, right? Like no one created this for you. You wanted to do this, and you did it.
Mhm.
And because you took the step, you put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. You're now meeting people all across the world, and you're teaching and helping people grow all across the world because you decided to put yourself in a little more in a less comfortable situation, which now you see that you've become a better person. I think I think you are a testament to what people can accomplish when they put themselves out of their comfort zone. And I'm gonna completely talk out the other side of my mouth. Um, when I when I when in the internal clarity phase, the internal I see internal clarity.
Right.
I always tell people also to be very intentional to know where they are comfortable. Um, I'll be real with you. I speak routinely in front of 600, 500, 1,000 people, right? Like this is what I do. I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer. If someone were to ask me to go to a happy hour, very likely not.
Really?
Why? I don't feel comfortable in large groups of people that are just like around me and doing the whole fake, I want to talk to you until I know what your title is and I'm gonna leave. Like, I don't do well in those situations because um it just doesn't feel good to me. So what I do is say, you know what? I know that when you're comfortable, you look more confident. And when you look confident, you're trusted more. I lean into putting myself in situations where I'm more comfortable. So like I love going to conferences, or I love to going to book readings or to talks where it's a smaller group of people. And then
Mhm.
I will walk up to the person I want to meet, give them my business card. I loved everything you said. Can I get yours, please? And I'll follow up and have a one-on-one conversation. Now, does that mean that I never put myself in uncomfortable situations? Absolutely not. But I can set myself up for success by intentionally, I love the word you used earlier, intentionally placing myself in situations where I am comfortable. And then I can do those uncomfortable situations as well. But I leverage where I'm comfortable because I'm going to look confident. If you look confident, you're trusted more.
That was fantastic. I think we can't end the podcast any other better way except one. I got one thing. I got one more question
Let's hear
because
it. Let's hear it.
I'm the question guy. Where'd you get your suit?
So
It
I got
looks great. So
I
talk, there's a backstory though.
no, so I just had Katie, I think it's Warif, I think it's like, she's on my podcast. She's freaking wonderful. She's a stylist for the Grammys and the all those Academy Awards and whatnot. She's a stylist. And before this, like I didn't dress up. Like I dressed up, but I never like really took the time to intentionally know what my brand was going to be and dress the part. And Katie taught me so much. So I encourage your listeners to check out
First
the
me, I'm going to
executive.
go after her. So yeah, I need to
Do
connect with her.
do
I need to
uh,
look.
yeah, look, go to the Executive Appeal podcast. You can find it there or
Well,
alextremble.com.
your link is in the your post today is that podcast.
Yes,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I've already connected with you.
Check
Yeah.
check it out. You got to.
Okay, that's it. That's perfect. So I'm going to tag her name if that's okay. Well, she doesn't have a choice. I'm going to tag her name in it because we gave her a shout out, so I think she'll appreciate it. Alex, thank you so much for being on the Question Guy podcast. You were such a joy to have a
Thank you,
conversation
brother.
with. You have a great day.
You too.